Hello, everyone. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness, broadcasting from our studio in Edmonton, Canada. It's Monday, February the 1st, 2021, Tuesday morning in the Philippines, and good morning to you there. In the news, we have updates from several of our correspondents from across North and Central America. Joy Ann Andres in Uniondale reports on the state of emergency in New York after that region is battered by a nor'easter. Mayanne Manzano-Gerson in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
New Jersey governor declares state of emergency due to winter storm Orlena. State offices and vaccine megasites closed until February 2.
May Davila in Ciudad de Panama tells us that country is reopening its economy as the number of COVID-19 cases fall. Orlena Campo in Fort Washington, Maryland.
Governor Hogan lifts restaurant bans, snowfall and COVID-19 updates.
Mila Simbulin in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
First COVID-19 cases with UK variant in the state of Delaware. And more than 1 million COVID-19 vaccines had been allocated in Pennsylvania.
Jane Kathleen Gregorio in Corpus Christi, Texas, will report on National Texas Day, as well as how the state plans to protect its energy industry. Oh, tonight's roundtable, you'll love this one. It's National Get Up Day. We'll talk about how we rise above the things that stand in our way, the hindrances. Our coverage begins now. Much of the northeastern United States is enduring the effects of a powerful winter storm. High winds and several inches of snow caused major disruptions in several major cities, including New York City, Newark, New Jersey, and Washington, D.C. This is what it looked like in Times Square today, where up to 2 feet of snow was expected to fall. States of emergency were declared in New York and New Jersey. New Jersey's governor shut down bus and commuter rail service. Most of the flights out of the New York region, as well as Boston, Philadelphia, and Washington, were canceled. The storm forced the closure of New Jersey's 6 mega sites for vaccination, as well as vaccination clinics in New York and Boston. Well, not everybody let the storm keep them indoors. These people who were out and about in New York seemed to be taking it in stride.
It's great, actually, nice. I never seen him before. I've been here like 20 years. It's beautiful and nice.
Well, it's really cold. Today is beautiful, but, it gets a little bit cold and wet, and we're just trying to make the best of it, enjoying it.
In the nation's capital, President Joe Biden canceled a visit to the State Department because of the storm, and plans to send kids back to school have been delayed for a day. And here's a sight we all can enjoy coming up at the Smithsonian National Zoo, the pandas. Hey, they're having a good time. Here you can see them sliding down the hills. Let's just sit back and enjoy this for a few seconds. We'll hear now from our correspondents in regions affected by this storm for an in-depth look at how people are coping. First to check in is Joyanne Andres from our New York City Bureau.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo declared a state of emergency for 44 counties as a slow-moving nor'easter is producing blizzard-like conditions for the next 2 days, with wind gusts ranging from 40 to 60 miles per hour. The governor is deploying 130 members of the National Guard to hardest-hit areas to aid in emergency response efforts. This snowstorm is predicted to drop over 2 inches of snow per hour in the region through Tuesday. New York City is expecting 18 to 24 inches. Some parts of the state will see upwards of 36 inches.
This snowstorm is predicted to do over 2 inches per hour. Why is that relevant? Snowplows cannot keep up with 2 inches per hour, which means even if you deploy all the plows in frequency, you can't keep the roads clear at 2 inches per hour. So it's the rate of snowfall, it's the total accumulation which is problematic in this case. 12 to 18 inches is a lot of snow. And the duration of the storm is a problem, because this is not a band that's going to last a few hours. This is a band that could affect the state through tomorrow night. So we're looking at a long 2 days here.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio restricted all non-essential travel, urging people to stay indoors and keep the roads clear for emergency vehicles. With many people working from home and students attending school virtually, there were visibly less people out on the streets today. Parents and children did find time to enjoy the snow day in local parks, as sleds were sold out in neighborhood stores around New York City. Outdoor subway service was suspended at 2 p.m. and will reopen when it's safe to do so. Metro North and Long Island Railroad suspended service this afternoon at 3 p.m. Commuters should expect more possible road closures as conditions worsen. Check MTA.info for the latest updates on the trains, bridges, and tunnels if you must travel. In Uniondale, New York, Joyanne Andrus, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you.
Standing by now in New Jersey is EBC's Mayanne Manzano-Garrison, who's also been feeling the effects of the nor'easter as well. Now, for those of you out there who aren't familiar with the term, it's called a nor'easter because the storm blows in from the northeast. So, Mayanne, what steps has the governor in New Jersey taken as a result of this storm?
Thank you, Thomas. Governor Phil Murphy on January 31st declared that New Jersey will enter a state of emergency beginning Sunday, January 31, 2021 at 7 p.m. in response to the expected winter storm. Snow accumulation for the storm began as of Sunday afternoon, with the heaviest snow falling earlier today, and hazardous conditions may continue through Tuesday morning. Executive Order number 218 declares a state of emergency across all 21 counties in New Jersey, allowing resources to be deployed throughout the state during the duration of the storm. State offices were closed today, February 1st, until tomorrow, February 2nd. This does not include weather essential employees. Private companies and businesses should dismiss their employees at their own discretion. All 6 vaccine megasites are also closed today until tomorrow due to the storm. Take a look.
So first things first, the state of emergency that I declared as of last evening remains in effect. We urge everyone who does not need to be out on the roads to stay in. Let me be as forceful on that point as I possibly can. If you don't need to be out, go back to your house immediately. If you're in your house, don't leave your house. This is a huge storm. Diane has over 3,900 pieces of equipment on the roads up and down the state. We are now about to enter the teeth, the worst of the storm. It's going to be really bad for the next 12 hours, including winds, Andrew, that gust up to 50 miles an hour. Please, please, please stay home. We have already been contacted both last night and this morning by the White House and the Federal Department of Homeland Security, who checked in regarding our preparedness for this storm. I'm sure they will be good partners with us as we clean up and recover and pay for this storm. Each of our vaccine megasites is closed today due to the weather. However, the Bergen County, Burlington County, and Gloucester County sites were already pre-scheduled to be closed today. Anyone with an appointment at the megasites in Atlantic County, Middlesex County, or Morris County has received a call, an email, or a text from the healthcare partner at that site to be rescheduled. Folks in Morris County explicitly have been rescheduled to Wednesday, with those in Atlantic County and Middlesex County having been rescheduled until Thursday. Our vaccination call center, however, will remain open throughout the winter storm. And that number again is 855-568-0545. 855-568-0545. So as I alluded to, back to the storm, according to the latest forecast, we expect the snow to pick back up throughout the day today, really beginning now and tonight, before this system pushes away from us. We thought originally tomorrow morning. It looks increasingly like tomorrow night. This is still a big system, and I want to repeat this as clearly as I can. The worst is yet to come. We expect new significant snowfall across central and North Jersey, with up to 2 feet of additional accumulations possible in some parts of North Jersey before all is said and done. In South Jersey, the snow totals will be lower. And if you're watching right now and you look out your window and it's raining, we understand that. But our concern remains around the mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain, as well as coastal flooding and winds. And having looked at the radar projections, where it's raining now, it is going to turn almost all likelihood to snow. So again, I cannot say this enough. Unless you must be out, do not go out. Stay home, stay in.
The governor encourages New Jerseyans to visit ready.nj.gov for important weather updates and safety information. New Jersey residents should also pay attention to local forecasts, warnings, and watches. In Sicklerville, New Jersey, May and Manzano Grazon, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
Mayan, these storms are deadly, and just as your governor was saying, could you share some tips on how people stay safe in a winter storm?
Sure, Thomas. Well, these are some of the reminders from ready.nj.gov as mentioned. So stay off roads if at all possible. And if you must be on the roads, be sure to have an emergency kit for your car that includes items for winter such as blankets, socks, ice scraper or brush, windshield cleaner, and jumper cables. Also, limit your time outside. If you need to go outside, watch for signs of frostbite and hypothermia. And avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. Never heat your home with a gas stove top or oven. Always assume downdoors are live. Never touch them or drive over them. And for more ways, Thomas, to stay safe during winter storm, especially here in New Jersey, visit ready.nj.gov. Thomas?
What are the temperatures like there right now?
Right now, Thomas, well, we're like at 12 degrees Fahrenheit.
So not too bad. It's not like the minus 20, minus 25 you might find
I guess
up
for
here.
you it's not too bad.
but nevertheless, the snow, the road conditions, they can be deadly. I've got to ask, have you ventured out at all today?
Well, Thomas, we had to. Yes, we went actually to our chapel just to shovel a bit because the snow was piling up really quickly. So yes, we went out around like 2 in the afternoon today. But after just like a couple hours, we headed back home right away. So,
best to stay in what you can. Now, this storm has created a lot of disruption all throughout that northeastern region of the U.S. for vaccines. The distribution schedules, I would imagine, will go out the window now because you're basically shut down. What are the new schedules for vaccination in your sites?
Good question, Thomas. Well, aside from the 2 counties that Governor Phil Murphy mentioned in his press briefing earlier, that is Atlantic and Morris, for Bergen, it is rescheduled during the extended hours throughout the week. For Burlington, it is rescheduled during extended hours throughout the week. For Gloucester County, it's rescheduled to Wednesday. For Middlesex, it's rescheduled to Friday. And yes, again, for Morris, it's rescheduled to Thursday. Thomas?
Mayan, stay safe, follow the governor's advice, and just wait out the storm at home. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Thomas.
Another public relations disaster for police in the United States, this time in Rochester, New York. Police in that city handcuffed and pepper sprayed a 9-year-old girl. This footage you see comes from body cam videos released by the Rochester Police Department. Deputy Police Chief Andre Anderson says the girl had been suffering from a serious mental health emergency. She reportedly threatened to take her own life and that of her mother. Officers called to the scene on Friday responded by handcuffing her. That's before trying to force her into a car and pepper spraying her when she resisted. The ethnicity of the young girl has not been released. Rochester police claim they were required to use the handcuffs and the irritant against the girl for her own safety. Mayor Lovely Warren isn't buying that. She condemned their use of force against the child, and she's pledged an internal review of the city's law enforcement policies. Police Chief Cynthia Harriet Sullivan admits officers acted excessively, but the local police union, the president. He's defending the officers' actions, saying limited resources had left them with no choice but to use pepper spray against the child. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has hired 2 lawyers to head the defense of his historic second impeachment trial. David Shawn and Bruce L. Castor Jr. will take the lead. Just last week, several members of his legal team quit, just over a week shy of his trial before the U.S. Senate. Trump, of course, charged with inciting the mob that stormed the U.S. Capitol back on January 6th. That an effort to block his election loss to Joe Biden. Around the White House these days, the Donald appears to be just an afterthought, responding to reporters' questions about social media platforms banning the former U.S. president. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki dismisses him as yesterday's man.
This may be hard to believe. We don't spend a lot of time talking about or thinking about President Trump here. Former President Trump, to be very clear. I think that's a question that's probably more appropriate for Republican members who are looking for ways to support a bipartisan package and whether that gives them space. But I can't say we miss him on Twitter.
In Southeast Asia, a disputed election has led to a military coup. The military in Myanmar seized power in a bloodless coup and imposed a 1-year state of emergency. The generals justified the power grab, alleging fraud in the November elections. Aung San Suu Kyi's party won that election by a landslide. International relations professor Jürgen Hacke says he's not surprised by the action.
The crisis was brewing for numerous weeks, ever since the elections took place in November of last year. And very soon after election day, obviously, there were critical remarks made about supposed irregularities, which the military did want to have addressed, but there weren't really.
The coup shows just how fragile democracy can be. In the African nation of Kenya, a rescue operation continues to save giraffes. The long-necked creatures are trapped on an island in Lake Baringo. As the waters rise, the island continues to shrink. This operation has been going on since early December, and what you see here are rescuers moving a 3rd giraffe from that island. Alois Netera, who's involved with the rescue, says it's going to take a few more months to get all of the animals to safety.
We still have quite a number, 6 actually giraffes, including the recent young one which was born in December. This is a process that we are trying to look at a case or day-by-day scenario. The moment we train these remaining giraffes, the moment they are ready, we move them. But the target is to move these animals by maybe April, May, latest May, around there. Then we'll have moved all the animals.
Still to come, reports from Ciudad de Panama and Fort Washington, Maryland. Eagle News America continues.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. Let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers now, provided by the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine. As of 6 p.m. Eastern Time today, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide, now more than 103,298,000. Top three lists on the list of countries with recorded cases. United States, 26.2 million. India, 10.7 million. Brazil, 9.2 million. And sadly, more than 2,225,000 lives worldwide have been lost to this virus. The top three countries with the most number of COVID-19 related deaths are the United States, more than 442,000, Brazil, more than 224,000, and Mexico, more than 158,000. To Central America now, where a decrease in COVID-19 cases has prompted the Panamanian government to launch a new reopening of the economy. We have more on that from Eagle News correspondent May Davila.
Panama having reached an accumulated 5,270 deaths from the coronavirus and 320,379 infections last Sunday, January 31, 2021, launches a new reopening of its economy on Monday, February 1, after a decrease in the number of COVID-19 cases. This reopening is limited to 3 of the 10 provinces that Panama has. Herrera in the central region of the country, Panama where the capital is located, and the adjacent Panama Oeste, where the retail trade with gender restrictions opened for purchases while maintaining total confinements on weekends. Panamanian Minister of Health Luis Francisco Sucre says the process of resuming activities will take place gradually in accordance with epidemiological criteria and following the plan presented by the government to face the pandemic. Sucre insists on the need to remain vigilant and continue with the biosecurity measures recommended. These include personal hygiene, frequent hand washing, proper use of masks, face shields, and physical distancing. He stresses that this reopening process also depends on social behavior in the face of the pandemic, since this also influences the spread of the virus. In Herrera, the quarantine from Monday to Friday will end and people will again be allowed to visit the rivers, beaches, and spas, but the total confinement of Saturdays and Sundays will continue, while the gradual reopening of the online retail trade begins with home deliveries. Also from Monday to Friday, the curfew will continue from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m., the same as in the capital and Panama Oeste. The construction and the entire supply chain industry, administrative, general, professional, technical, and home services, places of worship with a 25% capacity, outdoor sports without physical contact, and wholesale trade are included in the reopening for Herrera. Gender restrictions for purchases in retail stores remain, while banks will serve without distinction only on Fridays, as in the country's capital. In Panama and Panama Oeste, which have the highest incidence of COVID cases, retail stores open their doors in person, as well as beauty salons and barber shops, which must comply with biosafety protocols established. Meanwhile, after a rebound in the pandemic, quarantine have been applied for more than 2 weeks in the Panamanian provinces of Cocle, Veraguas, Los Santos, and Herrera, and recently in that of Darien, bordering Colombia. In the capital and its surroundings, restrictions have been lifted through a gradual schedule that will extend until March 15, after the strong rebound that the pandemic had since last November decreased in intensity with a decrease in the number of cases and the percentage of daily new positive cases. Desde Ciudad de Panama, May Davila, Eagle News, vivimos en tiempos interesantes.
In Maryland, there's good news for people who want to go out for dinner. Restaurants in the state are allowed to reopen. With more on that story, as well as how the nor'easter is affecting the state, EBC's Arlene Ocampo. Thanks for joining us, Arlene.
Thank you, Thomas. Improvement of key metrics in Maryland, which included a drop in the positivity and hospitalization rates, led to Maryland Governor Larry Hogan's announcement that starting today, restaurants and bars can stay open past 10 p.m. The statewide order for indoor dining at restaurants still remain at 50% of their capacity. Here in Prince George's County, indoor dining just resumed last Friday at 25% capacity, and Montgomery County will continue to restrict indoor dining at the moment. Economic assistance has been made available to Maryland hotels and hospital businesses, restaurants, and entertainment venues in recent weeks to help alleviate the economic effects of the pandemic. These funds can be used to purchase equipment, job training, payroll, and can be used for rent as well. Restaurants that would like to avail of these grants must apply through their local jurisdiction. Meanwhile, it has been snowing off and on here in the DMV region since yesterday. Forecasts say it's expected to continue until tomorrow. Travel is expected to become difficult because of the prolonged snow and the freezing temperatures in most of the Maryland counties. Just a few reminders to all Marylanders. Keep your devices charged in case the power does go out. You can subscribe to alerts from the Maryland Emergency Management Agency by texting MD Ready to 898-211 and be extra cautious if you have to travel. You can call 511 or log on to md511.org for travel updates. And because of the weather, if you are planning on getting tested for COVID-19 or have a scheduled appointment for the vaccine, please check with the locations first prior to proceeding. Here are some updates in regards to COVID-19 here in Maryland. As of today, the state's positivity rate is at 5.61% and hospitalizations at 1,437, and sadly, an increase of 27 deaths in the past 24 hours. We are still at phase 1 with the vaccinations, but starting today, the following are included in phase 1. So those who are currently hospitalized and diagnosed with the following: cancer patients who are in active treatment, type 1 and type 2 diabetics, those with COPD, end-stage renal patients who require hemodialysis, sickle cell disease, recipients of solid organ transplants. When it is your turn to get the shot, please do so. This does not just benefit you, but also those around you. Please stay safe, everyone. In Fort Washington, Maryland, Orlena Ocampo, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
Arlene, where can Marylanders get vaccinated?
Thank you, Thomas. Actually, once you've registered for the vaccine, there will be a list of locations within depending on how far you want to travel. There is a list provided to you. Normally, it would either be one of the local health departments or even one of the local hospitals. But starting this Friday, the state will actually open mass vaccination locations, and one of them is in Baltimore. It's the Baltimore Convention Center. And then there is another one here in Prince George's County. It is Six Flags of America. And for those, once the appointments are available, they will make an announcement in regards to the availability of the appointments. Thomas?
I've got to ask this, Arlene. Have you received your vaccination yet?
I actually have just my first dose. I can honestly say I was nervous throughout the whole week before my appointment. But when I got there, I think I was more relieved because it just, I guess it was kind of like a burden off my shoulder. Like, I'm finally here. I'm finally going to get this. So the process was okay. I mean, it wasn't bad at all. You get in there, there's security there. You actually, well, where I went, there's security there. They actually ask for your name, the time of your appointment, and then they take your temperature. So they had the temperature, the stand. So he had to kind of drop his about a foot lower because I'm that tall. And then you just check in at another station, you hand them your ID, you sit down. I only waited for maybe less than 5 minutes, got my shot, went out for my 15-minute waiting period. But for me, just for a sense of security, I sat there for 30 minutes. I wanted to be sure before I left that I wasn't going to react at all on the drive home.
Did you have any side effects after, any soreness, anything at all?
My arm was a little sore, but it was tolerable. It was nothing to complain about. So I was fine. Thank you.
So we're looking forward, in your case, to shot number 2 then.
That is correct. Yes.
Thanks for joining us, Arlene, and stay safe. Up
Likewise.
next, we have stories from Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, and Corpus Christi, Texas. This is Eagle News America.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. Delaware reporting its first case of COVID caused by the UK variant. Eagle News correspondent Mila Simbulan joins us now to tell us about that. Is this very common? Is it just one case or several cases, Mila?
Hi, Thomas, and hello to all our viewers. So, yeah, there are 3 cases in Delaware, and the Delaware Division of Public Health, or DPH, announced today the first 3 confirmed cases of the COVID-19 variant, or SARS-CoV-2 B117 in Delaware. This variant is the same one that was first discovered in England in December and is also commonly referred to as the UK variant. Delaware now joins a list of 26 other states reporting cases of the UK variant. The 3 individuals, all from Newcastle County, share a household and all tested positive for COVID-19 earlier this month. The cases involve 2 adults ranging in age from 35 to 64, as well as a child under the age of 10. All 3 individuals had mild symptoms. The cases were identified through routine surveillance of test specimens performed by the Division of Public Health Laboratory. DPH has also been in close contact with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, as it continues to track cases of COVID-19 variants in states. For those who are not familiar with the UK variant, this new variant was identified in the United Kingdom in mid-December 2020. As public health experts continue to study this new variant, they expect that all currently available diagnostic tests will detect the variant, and that the current COVID-19 vaccines, Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna, will remain effective against it as well. Preliminary data suggests the UK variant, as well as Brazilian and South African variants, may spread more easily and quickly, which could lead to increased cases. The CDC announced the first case of the South African variant in the U.S. has been identified in South Carolina. According to a White House press briefing, Minnesota has the country's first case of the Brazilian variant. Meanwhile, in Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Department of Health today confirmed there were 2,854 additional positive cases of COVID-19, in addition to 3,985 new cases reported Sunday, January 31st, for a 2-day total of 6,839, bringing the statewide total to 846,078. There are 3,370 individuals hospitalized with COVID-19. Of that number, 695 patients are in the intensive care unit with COVID-19. Most of the patients hospitalized are ages 65 or older, and most of the deaths have occurred in patients 65 or older. The trend in the 14-day moving average number of hospitalized patients per day has increased by nearly 3,500 since the end of September. And statewide percent positivity for the week of January 22 to January 28 stood at 9.3%. And here is the current vaccine distribution through January 31st. 1,025,000 doses of the vaccine had been administered. There are 615,085 people who have received 1 dose or partially covered. There are 196,470 people who have received 2 doses or fully covered. The math results in 1,025 doses administered to 811,555 people as of 11:55 Saturday, January 30. There were 59 new deaths as of 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, January 26. Right now in Swarthmore, Thomas, it's 30 degrees Fahrenheit or -1 degree Celsius. We've been having light snow for the rest of the day. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Milo Simbula and Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
First of all, that sounds like good news, only light snow there. So the storm is kind of bypassing you?
No, actually, it's been snowing overnight. That's why we have an accumulation, I believe, of about 3 to 4 inches. But other parts of Pennsylvania, I heard there were like almost a foot of snow. So it depends on where you're at. Thomas?
I want to move on to that UK variant now. Is there any indication of how these individuals were originally infected?
So those individuals had no known travel exposure. However, they may have been exposed while attending a family gathering to persons who live in other states and where the variant has been identified. It was reported that people at the gathering did not consistently wear face coverings or socially distance from one another for long periods of time. And then case investigation, of course, and contact tracing to identify, inform, and monitor anyone who was in close contact with these individuals is ongoing. Thomas? Well, Thomas, in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania has not received enough doses to vaccinate the number of Pennsylvanians who need it due to depleted national stockpile because of extremely limited supply. So actually, the governor of Pennsylvania, Tom Wolf, he actually mentioned that he's really frustrated and hoping that the Biden administration will be able to provide a fair and effective national distribution strategy. Thomas?
That seems to be a story we keep hearing over and over again, is at the federal level, there was not a whole lot of organization. Thanks for the report. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, it's not only happening in Pennsylvania, it's happening on other, all over the states as well.
Yeah, and we've got the same problem up here, basically. Thanks for the report. And again, stay safe. It's National Texas Day. This is a day to celebrate the fierce independent spirit that you find in the Lone Star State. And as well, the governor has signed an order to protect the state's energy industry from federal overreach. We've got more on these stories from EBC's correspondent in the Lone Star State, Jane Kathleen Gregorio. Good evening, Jane Kathleen, or I should say, howdy.
Well, a big howdy to you, Thomas, up there in the northern part of North America, and happy National Texas Day to you. February 1 celebrates the fierce and independent spirit of the people and history of the Lone Star State. Geographically speaking, Texas is the second largest state in the United States, the first being Alaska. And Texas was actually an independent nation from 1836 to 1845 before it joined the Union, hence the name Lone Star State. The Alamo in San Antonio is the most famous landmark and considered the birthplace of Texas liberty. Its capital, the Texas capital of Austin, is also known as the live music capital of the world and the Silicon Valley of Texas. Now, coinciding with National Texas Day, Governor Greg Abbott is scheduled to hold a 2021 State of the State address, actually happening right now as we speak. His speech will be broadcast on 15 Nexstar television stations throughout the state. The company Nexstar will make the live feed of the telecast available to every broadcast company in Texas as a public service. On Thursday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott also traveled to the city of Odessa to meet with energy workers, leaders, and advocates and discuss how Texas can help the energy industry and its employees secure a more prosperous future for the state, including enhancing workforce development, cutting expensive red tape, and expanding broadband access to rural communities. The roundtable discussion was followed by a news conference where Governor Abbott issued an executive order to protect the energy industry of Texas from federal overreach and announced his support for laws that will prevent cities from banning natural gas appliances. This announcement took place less than a week after President Biden issued an executive order to block the proposed Keystone pipeline and rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement. Governor Abbott's executive order directs all state agencies to use all lawful powers and tools to challenge any federal action that threatens the strength, vitality, and independence of the energy industry. Every state agency should search for potential litigation, notice and comment opportunities, and other methods of preventing federal overreach within the law. The governor stated, "The men and women who work in the energy industry produce affordable energy that powers our lives, and they are vital to the Texas economy. Texas is a pro-energy state, and we will not sit idly by and allow the Biden administration or local governments to destroy jobs and raise energy costs for Texas families. My executive order will help ensure that the federal government cannot take away the livelihoods of Texans who work so hard to provide our state and our nation with the energy we need. Meanwhile, I hope you are staying safe and healthy in your part of the country. In Corpus Christi, Texas, I'm Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Thomas.
Jane Kathleen, I was just listening to your report, and I thought I was listening to something from an Alberta radio station here. The issues are the same, energy, and of course, in Alberta, we're much like Texas. In Canada, we're kind of the fierce and independent province here, so we got a lot in common. And oil and gas is one of those things that we do have in common. In the U.S., how much does Texas contribute to the United States energy supply of oil and gas?
That's a good question, Thomas. According to a report it published in the U.S. Energy Information Administration website, Texas is the top U.S. producer of both crude oil and natural gas. In fact, in 2019, the state accounted for 41% of the nation's crude oil production and 25% of its marketed natural gas production. Also, Texas is the largest energy producing and energy consuming state in the nation. The industrial sector, including its refineries and petrochemical plants, account for half of the energy consumed in the state. Thomas?
Yeah, and we certainly had a lot in common, and we're suffering the same effects as you are with the cancellation of the permit for the XL pipeline. You know, with National Texas Day in place, what, in your opinion, are the top 3 foods that would represent the Lone Star State?
Oh, Thomas, well, you know, food is a very is a destination in itself when coming to Texas to visit, which hopefully one of these days you will have a chance to do. But if ever you're visiting Texas and you don't know what to eat and you have a limited time, the top 3 foods would, in my opinion, number 1, barbecue. And number 2, tacos at any local Mexican restaurant, especially those that are connected to a gas station. And number 3, the famous hamburger restaurant that originated in Texas, which is Whataburger. Actually, that originated here, right here in Corpus Christi. So those are the top 3 foods you should definitely try when you're in Texas. Thomas?
If I could travel, if it was safe to travel, I'd be packing my bags right after the show and booking a flight. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you in a bit on our national our roundtable discussion for National Get Up Day. That's coming up next, and you are watching Eagle News America.
We know that this is a scary time for all of us.
The coronavirus is changing the world.
Changing our lives.
So please, take care of yourself.
Keep your distance.
Wash your hands.
And if you can, stay at home.
We at DW
are here for you.
We are working tirelessly to keep you informed on all of our platforms.
We're all in this together.
And together,
we'll make it through.
Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Please, stay safe.
This is Eagle News America. I'm Thomas I. Likeness. Well, it's National Get Up Day. You know, we all fall, but it's how we get up that matters. You don't want to be like the character on that old TV commercial, you know, I've fallen and I can't get up. No, we want to get up again. And that's the spirit behind National Get Up Day. Happens every year on February 1st. But how did this all begin? Well, it was actually conceived by the U.S. Figure Skating Association. They created this motivational campaign back in 2016. And according to the association, Get Up is about being fearless. Fearless in the face of falling. You know, we're kind of all like figure skaters to a degree. We all fall sometimes. That tough part is bouncing back. And National Get Up Day honors this determination. And so we want to celebrate our own get up moments, honor others who've been there, and inspire people that you run across in your own life to do the same. So we're going to go around the round table here and start with Mila. And how about you letting us know about what your get up moment was? What major challenge did you try to meet? You didn't meet it. You fell, so to speak, but you overcame the hindrances and got up and succeeded.
So my get up day was when I was in a third year of college. So I'm taking computer science course at that time. And that's the time that I failed one of the subjects, one of the hardest subjects. And I never failed anything, you know, any academically. I haven't never failed any subjects or any, you know, even when I was in high school. And you know, for my because that was my third year. So for 2 years, I'm all okay. I mean, I'm sometimes I'm barely there, barely passing, but still passing. And for that one, I cried a lot, because I have to retake it. So I have to spend another semester, we're in a trimester at that time. So I need to retake it for another term, and I will not be on the same block as my other friends. So there's, so, you know, whenever you fail a class, you won't be together again with your other classmates or other friends. So that's the downside of failing a subject. And but I have to go through it. It was the worst moment of my life at that time, and so I have to go through it again. And I took the class again, and I was able to get really good grades. And the good thing is, I was really able to, because I've taken it twice already. I was able to really understand the course or the subject at that time. So that's the positive side of it. And I was able to graduate still on time and continue with my career right now as a programmer. So, yeah.
I've got to ask you, what was the subject that you had to retake?
It's, they call it, it's the theories of programming a language. So it's a theory behind it. It's not just doing programming, but then whether it was the theory behind it. So yeah, so that's really.
I can tell you right now, I'd probably be taking it 7 times and then just. I don't know whether I could get up from that. But aside from having to do the work all over again, I mean, there's a mental adjustment you have to make as well when you go into something like that, isn't there?
It is. But the good thing also is I have a different teacher. So I have a different professor, and he was able to explain it really well. That's why I was able to understand it the second time. Because the first time, it was really, I could not understand anything. And the questions are more, it's not a true or false or A, B, and C, D, the answers. No, you really have to explain. But the exam is, you really have to explain everything that you've learned. And That's why it's a good thing for me also to retake it, because the second time I was able to understand it really well.
Arlene, what was your get up moment?
So mine, I can think of one back in my younger days. I used to play softball. My dad signed me up for every sport. So first season, I kept striking out. Actually, throughout the whole season, I kept striking out. And I hated going to every game every Saturday. And then come the next season, my dad's like, no, I got to sign you up again. I was like, wow, okay, Dad. So in between all that, well, with that, I was still striking out. I could not hit that ball for whatever reason. Then finally, there was a mention of maybe getting my eyes checked. So I got my eyes checked. And sure enough, I needed glasses. I was swinging that bat way too soon. And that's why I was always striking out. So when I finally showed up at that game with those glasses on, I finally hit that ball. And it was a home run. So, yes, that was a great feeling.
How old were you at that time?
I was, I think I was 12.
Okay, so a 12-year-old, when you get glasses, I remember when I was 12 and I needed glasses, didn't want to wear them. I didn't want to be four eyes. So what was worse, striking out or getting the glasses?
I think, I don't know if I can compare the two. But I mean, at least I could see, and I was so excited that I finally hit that ball. So I did sign up every season thereafter, and I love playing softball. You know, we don't play enough of it nowadays. Well, of course, because of COVID, but I don't see much of that around where I live. And because back then also, you know, I was raised as, my dad was in the military. So, you know, we were on base. So that's where we always played sports with the other, you know, people from other bases. So, but yeah, so it is definitely one of my sports. So I could finally see with those glasses on, but as you can see now, I don't have glasses on. It's because now I can't see. I need to get my eyes checked again.
Let's go to Texas now. What was your get-up moment, Jane Kathleen?
Well, I just wanted to comment real quick on the stories of Mila and Arlene. It sounds like they were really passionate about what they were doing. Like Mila was passionate about the computer programming course she was doing, and Arlene was passionate about her softball, and that, I think that fueled the determination. And so for me, I was really passionate about telling stories. I loved reading, and I loved sharing stories. But my senior year, I decided to, for the first time, take journalism, and I almost failed because I wasn't used to the deadlines. Newspaper, you know, we ran the school paper, and I was always late with my stories. And at the end of the school year, I was really surprised that my teacher of journalism during that time told me, "Are you planning on going into journalism? Because I don't think you're cut out for it." And, you know, I was really shocked a teacher would say that. And so, but I didn't let that deter me, because obviously in the end, I ended up practicing journalism here with Eagle News. And in addition to that, I had worked 9 years at a San Antonio newspaper. And this month, I'm actually launching a newspaper as the editor-in-chief for a small community here in near Corpus Christi, Texas. So so what he told me, you know, may have sounded discouraging, but for some reason, instead of letting it bring me down, it caused me to rise up to the challenge and prove him wrong. And now I think about it, I wonder if he told me that on purpose, just so that way he would get the opposite reaction, you know, kind of like a reverse psychology. I'm wondering about that. But the lesson I learned was, if you're really passionate about something, you'll overcome all the odds to make it to your goal. If you
exactly. Are you hiring for your newspaper down there? Because I'll get my resume ready for you. I'll cover City Hall for you or something. Crime in court.
That would be great. All those meetings are quite long. But we'll see.
Okay, mine, like yours, it was something I was very passionate about, what I'm doing right now. I wanted to be a broadcaster. I had a good academic education. I did my pre-med and everything and decided, no, I don't think I want to be a doctor. I don't really want to have an academic career. But while I was in graduate studies, pursuing public health, I got a job in a radio station. But to get that job in a radio station, I had no training. I had to literally talk my way into it. I banged on every radio station door in the Quad Cities, and some of them, it was just short of throwing me out. I mean, get out of here. You have no training, you have no experience, you want to work here? Yeah, I really want to work here. Well, eventually somebody did hire me. Started out, all I got was 2 hours live on a Sunday morning. The rest of it was playing religion and public affairs tapes. Sunday morning, 6 hours a day. That was my first job I was in, and I was a star for 2 hours, at least in my own mind. But overcame the fact that I had no training in it. I got somebody to show me how to run a control board, and that was the extent of it. But if you want something bad enough, and it was something I had wanted to do since I was about 11 years old, you will achieve it. You will achieve it. And the more people said, you can't do it because, you got to go to school for this. No, I don't. I mean, all you have to do is talk. The more they told me I couldn't do it, the more I wanted to do it. It was what I was driven to do. So I understand what all of you are saying there. It is a state of mind. It is a state of mind. Anybody have quickly an inspiring story of somebody else who overcame the odds? No? But adversity, those falls, when we fall, adversity is what really makes you stronger. Because if it was easy, anybody could do it. And I really don't think you'd appreciate it. When you really have to fight for something, fight for your place in your career, fight for your place in life, it takes on meaning. It takes on meaning, and I really believe that's what makes the character of people. It's those battle scars that make you interesting, rather than just another manufactured personality out of a diploma mill. It's the battle scars that you had to go through. That's what makes all of us unique. But there is a group who day in, day out, rises above the challenges they face. And my goodness, they face them. And they're challenges, big challenges, I wouldn't want anything to do with. And I'm talking about all of those people out there on the front lines. So let's take time now to salute them. Our healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers, let's give them a round of applause. We appreciate you. And that's today's Eagle News America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Thomas I. Likeness, and truly, we live in interesting times.